Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Amateur Osaka podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Isaac Wolf, and joining me as always for this is Doron Dororon recordings is my good friend and co-host, Brandon Alvarado.
Yo,
How's it
yo,
going, buddy?
yo. All good, brother. Excited.
Yeah. As you might notice, we are doing this as a live stream. Well, there's not much going on right now with some any other stuff. My Mike is currently unavailable, so we are waiting for Spy X Family with him, and there's no My Hero Academia. And well, even if it was, Mike is unavailable still. So we figured, why not do Doron Dororon as a live stream, just as a means of just have something going on here.
Yeah, yeah. And awesome two chapters we got to cover. So, very excited.
And I have to say right up front, we although she can take care of herself, we need to protect her at all cost, don't we?
Yes. And of course, we're talking about the new character introduced in chapter 20, which is the one and only Naotora Kamisumi. And look at this character. She is like all over the place, but she looks so weird but interesting. And it's like I don't know if you saw the Harry Potter movies or read the books. I'm not sure.
I have read them and watched them all, except
So
the Fantastical Beasts ones.
well, that doesn't count. Those ain't books. um
I when you talked about movies also.
oh, true. But she has like Luna Lovegood's vibes.
Yeah, sort of.
But in the best way, right? She is this. So now we finally found out who the stalker was, because if you remember in the previous
Yeah.
chapter, there was this character that made special food for Dora specifically, um, and she was kind of weird and kind of stalkery, and we thought she was a simple cadet or like a regular samurai, but no, she's a samurai officer. So she's a
Hey, spoiler for the later in the chapter.
well, I mean, it's not really a spoiler, but it's she is pretty much at the same level as Uji, which is awesome because we're meeting more characters. It's similar to the relationship between um, Tanjiro and the Hashiras. And I find it interesting how it's this book, it's kind of taking a page out of Demon Slayer, where they're pairing up the main character with strong supporting characters, right? First we had Jinchio, then we had Uji, and now then we have Toda, which kind of was like a partner for Dora, and Kusanagi, and now we have Tora Kamisumi, which I don't know. She doesn't just look interesting. Throughout the chapter, you really find her very endearing. Which and it's not a chapter that like a whole lot happens, right?
Yeah. I mean, it is more. We get the this chapter is more of a we get to know her chapter, and you can
Mm-hmm.
under the reasoning for her being as socially is the word socially awkward the right term?
Yeah, but also I think it's more than socially awkward. It's a it's you can even say it's like a type of it's a type of social anxiety more than anything.
Yeah,
I think that's the angle. I think that's the more appropriate word. Um,
I will.
which is very interesting because one thing is being awkward, another thing is being socially anxious. Not
Yeah,
and she is socially anxious, and it
yeah.
has to do directly with her job and her performance, which is interesting too.
I will admit, when I saw that we were quote unquote having a stalker, my first reaction is and will always be, please no more Mira Nikki, Please no more Miraniki.
I don't know what
If
that
you
means.
um, have you heard of the quote of the term yandere?
No, I have not.
Stalker that pretty much destroys everything that is in our path of that hurting her, hurt her beloved, and Mirai Nikki contains the most infamous yonder of them all.
I think, which is
You are probably I can't recall her name right now, but you have probably seen a picture of her in somewhere. Honestly,
but I think a better relation to what you're explaining. It makes me think about the villain in Sword Art Online in the Phantom Bullet arc, the one that kind of stalks the the sniper in the real world.
that dude is nothing compared to Juno,
Well,
which
I'm
I
not. Well, again, I don't know who Juno is, but that's like, what I'm saying is, I think I understand what you're trying
Yunagasai.
to say.
Yunagasai. That's the name, and well, we probably have to cover Mirai Nikki then.
Yeah, but I think what I'm trying to say is I understand what you're bringing to the table, what you're saying, and yeah, like it comes off as, is she gonna be a villain? Kind of very similar to Himiko Toga in the
Yeah,
current My Hero manga, and how she's obsessed with Deku.
yeah,
I think. Well, you know what? I think that's a more accessible comparison.
yeah.
So similar.
Check your Twitter DMs. I think you have seen a picture of her, even if you haven't heard
Uh,
of the.
yeah, I'll check it off here, but I think we got the gist. It's like that guy from Sword Art, and but more like Himiko Toga. But also I like the fact. I think what I like the most of what we get to know about her, because I read both chapter 20 and 21, one right after the other, so it's kind of hard for me to it's kind of hard for me to differentiate where one chapter starts and the other ends, because they're all very Naotora Kamisumi centric. They're
Yeah,
all about her relationship with Dora kind of being creeped out about her, but at the same time respecting her as a samurai. Kusanagi, because for some reason we just found out, which again, can Kusanagi get any cuter? But apparently Kusanagi is not just the greatest merchandise. I don't know. He's not just the greatest merchandise available to man, but apparently our beautiful and cute Kusanagi apparently loves to watch dramas. He
yeah.
loves to watch TV dramas. And that's how he knows that apparently Kamisumi has a crush on Dora. And I just find that so adorable, because it's like, this guy, like, first of all, we've never seen him in front of a TV, but I like how he says it with like this seriousness, like, no, Dora, you don't get it. And he's having like an internal monologue, like, you don't get it. This is what's going on. Naruto has a crush on Dora. It's like, I don't know. Kusanagi for the win. Again,
I mean,
the
he
cutest.
is Kusanagi is the cutest.
Yes. Yeah.
So
But I think what I like the most about this character, because by the way, kudos to Osuka-san, because he keeps surprising me as a writer, especially because I think the one thing about Doron Dororon that I am very surprised that um, Osuka-san is able to not fall into that trap, is that Doron Dororon has always felt fresh from the beginning. It's entertaining, but it does have so many things in common with other mangas and series that it is very easy for them to fall into a trap where it gets lost in the endless series out there that are similar. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
like it's very like the trap is right there. They're always at the edge of falling into the convention of things that we've seen before. But what I love about the book and Osoko-san keeps surprising me is the fact that they keep coming up with characters that are just so interesting. Because Uji, with his cold demeanor, but is so interesting for the simple fact that he is an attention hog, but nobody knows this. You know what I mean? Like we have these characters that have these dualities and complexities that I find so endearing. Like Jinshiyo is like super interesting, super smart, but she just wants to prolong her she just wants to promote her career, which is like so mundane in a
Mhm.
world that's so full of fantasy and monsters and powers. You know what I mean? And and
Yeah.
and then in her case, I like the fact that she's also multidimensional because it's not just the fact that she's Luna Lovegood, right? It's not just the fact that she may or may not have a crush on Dora, which we kind of find out that she does, but it's the fact that the social anxiety angle feels real. And I
Yeah.
like the fact that they're exploring that dimensionality with this character because when you think about it, all this is because of something that happened at work. So it is something that anybody can relate to, but not in a way, but also it's like, for example, that's the kind of character or that's the kind of theme that wouldn't work in Demon Slayer because Demon Slayer is a period piece. So there's always going to be that disconnect with our current reality. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like Demon Slayer is always going to feel hyper fantasy as opposed to this one that does take place in the quote unquote modern era. And I like the fact that they bring all those layers of what modern era living brings to people or brings to and how it contributes to social anxiety and social acceptance. And there's a lot of different themes that they juggle in this. But I love that
And
introducing that with her, and it's just awesome.
and I have to say that the reasoning for her to take notice of Dora and Kusanagi
Yep.
makes actually
Yep.
actual sense.
Yes. Yes. It's not just something to, it's not something about just that just happens out of nowhere. It's legitimate, it's interesting, and I don't know. It's actually pretty great.
Yeah.
It is pretty great. And you kind of fall in love with this character like right away. And I'm actually really, really glad about it. And also, what a great way to introduce a character that with all these complexities, right? And then of course, you add another layer of complexity to the character, and that she's a freaking psycho. like like which I love, which is great because you got to think about it. It's like she's a psycho, but it's all like focused.
I wouldn't
Because
call her psycho, just more when she
again,
gets into the job, she is
well
she
here's
gets very serious.
but here's why I say psycho. I'm gonna give you all the evidence of why it's because number one, she's hypersensitive to supernatural energy, right?
Yeah.
We find that out, right? She's super smart. But as soon as the um the Mononoke shows up in the water, she completely changes. And the most interesting thing is she becomes this hyper focus person. I mean, look at that face. Look at that
Yeah.
face. Like she's
I
like the
mean,
happiest person ever. Like you haven't seen her really smile throughout all this because she's like, it's like when she sees a Mononoke. Which, by the way, I love the fact that she's able to make the differentiation with Kusanagi. Also, I like the fact that we didn't have to, the Osuka-san was smart enough to not recycle the whole thing about, oh, can I trust Kusanagi? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, because you know how that's easily something that like a lot of places make the mistake of, hey guys, we've done this before. We know it's a demon. Let it go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I like the fact that that was skipped all over, but also when she sees the Mononoke, she changes and she becomes this bullet, and we find out how powerful she is. But not only how powerful she is, I'm not gonna say it yet, but Isaac, when you found out her code name,
It was just, oh, that makes sense.
yes, and the fact that after now we kind of understand what her mess up was, right? Because she kind of loses control whenever she sees a Mononoke. So she's just that type of character that is just excessively good at her job. I mean, look at her here. Like she
I wouldn't,
just
I wouldn't call that psychotic.
well, no, I'm not. Well, again, I'm using the term loosely. You know what I mean?
It's such a strong word, bud.
It is, but I'm not trying to be despective. I'm being objective with the character. She just one shot at this Mononoke with one blast. Like the last
Yeah.
person we saw do this was Uji, which is like awesome. Um, but then of course we have the whole thing of then we find out, oh, I have a code name and it's Berserker, and I'm like, I'm gonna ask you the question, Isaac,
Yeah.
because there's no way that you didn't think about this. She is a homage to Guts, like especially how she becomes in the heat of the moment. I feel that that's a call to Guts.
I
That's
mean,
just
there is a lot of Berserk reference recently, especially since he passed. I mean,
yeah.
it feels so surreal that it was 1 year ago. The creator of Berserk passed. He
Yep.
was. I know it's a Doron Dororon episode, but that dude was one in a lifetime.
No, and I'm gonna say this. Sadly, all I've seen of Berserk, actually, is that the only thing I've seen? I think I've seen. No, yeah, I think the only thing I've seen is the horrible CG movies. So I
Oh, for
gotta
fuck's sake!
calm down, okay?
Okay, now I know what we are doing as a filler series once in a while. One
But what I'm,
chapter Berserk at a time. You
but I,
need to read that manga.
it's like, well, first of all, I'm already doing a monumental act, which don't say anything. It's a surprise. I'm already doing a monumental act, so I gotta take it one. I can only do one Everest at a time. So calm down. But
Berserk is not on the same level as that one, though.
but still, it's a lot. Um,
Eh,
but what I
depends
was
on who
gonna
you
say,
ask.
but but what I was gonna ask is, I like how she does have that resemblance to Guts about the fact that whenever he's in the heat of the battle, he's just like a beast. He literally goes berserk, which again, I like the fact that I think this is the first samurai officer that has like a code name, because I don't think we've seen another one that has one.
I I don't remember if he Yuji has one.
No, he doesn't.
And also, I have to admit, she's extremely adorable in the last panel.
Yes, yes. And then it goes right into chapter 21, where we literally see it's all about Uji being like jealous because he
Can
does love he does enjoy having Dora and Kusanagi in his team.
Can we also take a moment to point out the reaction that Kusanagi and Dora had when they just, you're a senior officer? Just the sheer look in them about,
Yep.
whoa.
Yep. Yep. I mean, it was a great surprise for everybody that watched. It was great. It was great. And I think apart from the fun between Uji, and like Uji and Kamisumi, um, having that discussion because Uji thinks that she's trying to steal Doron Kusanagi, which was, by the way, that was
Oh, you there, bud? I can't hear you.
they spend all that time training and getting to know each other, and like apparently Dora is a very very bad morning person, which was hilarious. Um,
Can we also talk about how she is the one that points out that he is well, he craves for attention constantly.
yeah, yeah, like I love the idea that between like the strongest of the bunch, like knows knows what the others like to hide. So it makes me think like they probably were brought up together as officers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's actually pretty cool.
With how they have some like similar hair, if you catch my drift. Maybe they're siblings.
Well, her last name is not Uji, so I don't see how they could be siblings. Maybe they're like cousins. I don't know. Yeah, maybe they're destined to be together. No, I'm kidding. But
I do find it funny though that she's just blatantly calling him out.
Yes. Like she doesn't care. Like she doesn't care. But
and then we have that. But I don't think of Dora and Kusanagi as subjects. I like them.
Yeah, I like Uji's constant inner monologue. Like it's funny how he's two characters at the same time all the time.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like how like just like Kamisumi is unique because you got to think about it. Dora, it's like he is the straight man. Like pretty much like Dora is what you expect in a main character. You know what I mean? Like Dora's not really that interesting, but he's interesting enough that we enjoy his dynamic with Kusanagi. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like pretty much the most interesting characters are everybody else around him. You know, it's not like Naruto, where Naruto was just a super interesting character that just got more and more interesting as you find out the tragedy of his story, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a character that becomes like the main character is like one of the biggest draws of the show, right? I do have to admit that this one is the relationship with Doron Kusanagi, but I like the fact that the mangaka is making these supporting characters so interesting that you just also the fact that it's funny. The fact that Dora has no supernatural energy is why he's such a great power to Kusanagi as a partner. And the fact that Dora is not that complex is why it's so interesting to have him with more complex characters, which I kind of think was that by design.
Maybe. And also going back to the whole he's not a morning person, well, that's an understatement. Yeah, although he has an interesting way to sleepwalk.
Yeah.
But go ahead. She's also adorable when she greets him again, I have to admit.
Yes. Now, the biggest thing is the biggest reveal, though, because we spend most of the episode just
chapter.
Chapter, yes. We spend most of the chapter just have them train together and walking around having fun. I like the whole thing. I like the reveal because we gotta go to the big reveal at the end, Which, well, actually, not the
But
reveal. Not the
but
reveal.
first we must. I know it's simple, but we also have to. Can we all agree that they are? She Dora's lover alliance forms is
Oh
quite
my god!
adorable.
Yes, yes, yes. Like this right here, it's just ridiculous, but funny. I'm pulling up the panel right now. So we do find out that she does have kind of a crush on Dora. Um, but the coolest thing about it is that Kusanagi, as a friend, cares about him a great deal, and they form, or at least the author says they form an alliance. Dora lovers. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't
I
get
mean,
it.
Kusanagi loves him as a friend. She has a crush on him,
Yeah, it's kind of hilarious. It
and
is kind of
and Kusanagi is adorable as always. Also,
yes,
wagging that tail like
yes,
a dog.
yes, yes. Kusanagi is just special. Um, now, now the biggest thing that happened apart from the whole alliance thing is that we kind of get. I like the fact that they sneak this in because it's kind of like acknowledging to the audience or to the reader that we haven't forgotten what we teased, you know. So you have two big things happen. We get a glimpse of the officer, I mean, or at least the samurai that's kind of like following Dora around all the time because Kanbei, which is the weird elf looking guy, demon, or Mononoke, that did the big like Henki Dama Noji on the previous mission. He's trying to get Dora alone. Now they're still keeping the identity of this samurai a secret, so we don't know who he is yet. Um, I don't want. I don't think we've met enough prominent samurai characters for us to kind of like deduce who this person can be. I think it's going to be interesting if we do find out who it is. Um, but I do like the fact that they're kind of tipping the hat that hey guys, we haven't forgotten about this. And then it cuts to the big moment, which is the fact that there's this portal on Earth, which I like the whole design that kind of mirrors the moon. I think that's going to be a thing or whatever. And then Captain Elephant shows up because, or Anteater, I don't know. But this humanoid kind of creature Mononoke shows up. But that's not the biggest thing. It's not that he showed up. So apparently he also knows Kanbei, like the other ones, like the previous Mononoke that we met, right? He
Yeah,
knows who Kanbei is. But the biggest thing is that we find out that he was brought over to the human world by a mysterious human figure,
yeah.
which looks like this. But the biggest thing that I find interesting from this quote unquote reveal is the fact that he has a sword. And why do I find that interesting, Isaac? Because the only people that have had swords in this manga are what?
Samurais.
Yes. We haven't seen a villain with a weapon. We've only seen samurais with a weapon. So is
I'm
this going
just
to go ahead?
my only fear is that they are going to one shot this Mononoke also, or not. But then again, Kanbei did survive, so
Yeah.
because this Mononoke has a weird but kind of cool design. I will admit.
Yeah. Now, I the fact that he was summoned here and he's being told to wreak havoc, right?
Yeah,
Um, I can see how that gives you like the feels that they're trying to like Kanbei is still the strongest one, right?
Yeah.
Like this is just like another. This is like a monster of the week, freak of the week, or whatever. Um, but the whole thing with the, I mean, I don't know, but the whole thing with that human or that samurai that brought the demon over, I kind of have, I kind of hope, kind of, because I kind of feel that this has like, I don't know you, but it has kind of like Obito vibes. You know what I mean?
How do you mean?
Like it's not like,
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh no, now that I can.
yeah,
Now I
because
think.
it's not just the whole thing about him being bad, right? It's the whole thing that it's not just like a regular human. It's not like a regular human, like a sorcerer. You know what I mean? Like, you know, in Dragon Ball Z, when they were summoning Boo, nobody cared about the weird wizard. Like, we knew the wizard couldn't fight for himself. You know what I mean? Like, this is someone, like, by his design, you're kind of telling me this is someone that's capable. This is someone that can do damage by himself. We have seen how strong samurais can be, right? So, so I do find interesting that this character is being introduced now, but also the whole thing with Obito, it makes me think, um, it makes me think that this is someone that used to be one of the good guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And he's like covering his face and all that stuff, which is why I'm kind of feeling like Obito vibes, because the whole thing, the whole story with Obito is that he had the Naruto Hokage dream, but the people that he trusted turned their back on him, right? Which is what led him to be easy prey for Madara. So it makes me think. I don't think it's going to be the exact same thing, but But first of all, when I say that it has Obito vibes, I'm not saying it in a bad way. Obito is one of the best characters in Naruto. Like Obito,
agreed.
Obito is phenomenal. I mean, apart from the fact that he's a badass character, I mean, his arc and which by the way is very refreshing. Is very one of the most satisfying things in the whole Naruto. We've been talking about Naruto a lot today, but one of the things that I love about Naruto is that the best villains in Naruto are mirrors of Naruto. You know, are different versions of the same character, which is why it makes it so interesting when they're having the psychological debates, right?
Yeah,
Um, and of course, I'm talking about Pain and I'm talking about Obito, but the whole thing with this character, I don't know. I want to see more. I mean, I am not in disagreement with us having like two chapters with the characters and then like a reveal like this in between. But I kind of want to know who this guy is already. Am I impatient? Yes. Give it to me now. Are you excited with this reveal?
yeah. I'm curious.
Um, that's all I got on the chapters. You got anything else?
Mm, not that I can think of.
So, interestingly enough, we got a comment um, on the chat. And it's funny because I believe that our friend EMDE actually asked us about this in a previous video, right?
Yeah,
Because he was concerned that this is going to be canceled. And I don't know why you feel that way, EMD, that this, like, you asked us if we thought it was going to be canceled. Isaac gave you an answer because we believe that so far it's going to keep going. I think the biggest answer to whether or not it was going to be canceled might be whether or not is going to be whether or not it makes it to chapter 30, right, Isaac? That was
yeah,
kind of like your thought about it. But personally, I did not feel that from from these two chapters, because they're not. It doesn't feel. I mean, again, if they cancel it, it's one of two things that's going to happen. Either they're going to keep running things as usual and just cancel it, or they're going to try and wrap up the story in a way, right?
Yeah.
It's either one or two. But the fact that they keep expanding the world with very interesting characters leads me to believe that hopefully they won't cancel it, because I think these characters are very endearing, and I think Mr. Asuka is doing a great job. So hopefully they don't cancel it. But then again, we're in chapter 21 right now, so anything can happen in the next 9 chapters. But they already announced that a new chapter is coming soon, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah. And also the fact that they are able to introduce more characters gives me hope.
Yes.
U19 and U13 is normally the two biggest factors.
What does that mean?
Under 19 and under 30.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I'm kind of looking a couple of things here, like one of the top anime guys, like for Neverworld, is digging Doron Dororon. It's kind of following it too, which is great. So
Yeah.
you have a lot of the big guys that talk anime and manga all the time covering it, which I think is phenomenal. So the hopes are high. The hopes are very high.
Yeah.
So have they announced volume releases yet? Or they don't start doing that till like
They have really done volume releases in Japan. I don't know if they have done it in US or something.
which is also a good sign, right? So I guess we will see. Isaac, do we wrap up?
Yeah, I think we can do that.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
Well, you can
Pun
find my
unlikely.
work. You can find my work over at Wobum Entertainment, and you can find me at Emblemaniac on Twitter. And you can find the pod at the Amateur Otaku Pod. And you can find our other stuff that we're covering that is not my our covering that isn't weekly like this, My Hero Academia and all that. Yes, is also on everything besides Podbean.
Yes, and you can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter, the Scarlet Fan 52 on Instagram, and at the Scarlet Fan 52 on TikTok. Even though I have no idea what I'm doing there, and you can follow the Amateur Otaku at Amateur Otaku Pod. Make sure you follow us on the Twitter, which looks a little bit like this. But before we go, EMD, I want to say you're right, because I don't want it to end either. So don't worry. We're holding hope together, my friends. We are holding hope together. So we will see you guys next time, guys. We will cover Doron Dororon in Yezer.
And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, man. It's awesome. Your comments are awesome, and we're glad that you're enjoying the show with us. So we will see you again, good friends in the internet, in 2 weeks when we revisit another 2 chapters of Doron Dororon. If you like our coverage of Doron Dororon, we cover My Hero Academia and some of the spinoffs every single week. But also, we're covering every week that we're not doing Doron Dororon. We're starting to cover Kaiju number 8. So if you love our coverage, stick around and make sure you go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, click on the like button, click on the bell for notifications so you don't miss any videos. And we will see you next time. Have it awesome. Peace.
Peace.